my God, Olympia, thank you for being here on Spark TV and having a little vino with me today. I'm so excited to have you.
I've been waiting for this for so long, so I'm super excited that it's finally happening tonight. I'm very excited. Cheers.
I know. Cheers. Cheers. I know. Before we started recording, I was like, I don't even know how long we've known each other, but it's been a long time.
It has been a long time, yeah.
And we always dip in and out of each other's worlds, I think.
Yeah, but somehow that's the best way. You still manage to always know what's going on. And you know what? Fun fact, up until very recently, like very, very recently, like when we had all that rain and things got very damp around the house, I had like the little card that you gave me when I came to your scrunch launch.
Get out.
You know, in the kiddie bar, you had the breakfast event. I had that on my corkboard thing that used to be here. And it's
my God.
Just very recently gone. I think it's still in the drawer, the card somewhere, but yeah. So
that is hilarious, because that is like the beginnings of scrunch.
Yeah.
Like that was like, God, almost like not a decade ago, but like close to like.
And I was there. I'm very privileged to have been there.
Integral part of my business journey, actually. You are. That's so good. But look, so why don't we start with, so the Spark community is basically amazing female founders, and they dial in to hear female founder stories. And I wanted to chat with you because you do a few different things, and I really want to share stories around people that aren't doing things that are super traditional. And I would love to know what your background is and how you got started, what you're doing now, and when you had the epiphany moment of starting a business, if that was even a thing.
Yeah. So, okay, for the last 10 years, I've been working predominantly in the media, in radio. It's coming up to 10 years. I think next year it'll be. So yeah, I don't even really know how I got started in that. It wasn't like I had grand aspirations or anything like that whatsoever to get into radio, but that's just the way it happened. So I started working at 4BC as a producer in 2013, and didn't really know the whole fundamentals of it or anything, but just, what they say, just get thrown in the deep end.
Do it. Learn on the spot. Yep.
I didn't have to Google on the first day how to be a radio producer, but maybe looking back, I should have. So I kind of just started with that and really found that, hey, this is something I really like doing. That kind of led to me doing some on-air stuff as well, like going out and like when we'd have heaps of festivals like the Brisbane Festival and, shows and stuff, the Powerhouse, getting out to that and like, the Vox Pop situations and reporting back with like live crosses back to programming and everything. So I quickly got started doing that as well. And then from there, sort of thought, I'd like to be on air a bit more, and I kind of really enjoy talking and speaking and essentially being paid to talk.
Yeah, I love that. That's basically how I designed my career. Yeah, I just get paid to talk and drink wine. That's all I want to do with my life.
Fantastic. Yeah, It's the best. So yeah, then went on to do traffic reporting for a few years and did the good old shopper traffic chick for a long time, and that was fun, and the novelty wears off quite quickly.
I can imagine.
Yes, and then back to radio, producing again, and then kind of like towards the end of, I've been in a very unique sort of situation with my career, whereas that I've had, the company that I've worked for had undergone 3 mergers with big corporations.
Wow.
I actually was like essentially made redundant times in my career. So the first time there was a merger where I worked for Fairfax Media, and there was a merger with Macquarie. So they changed the programming then. So then I had that time out, and there was like one local show still on 4BC that was going to air. And then after working on the traffic network for a while, I went back to 4BC to produce again. Then after just shy of 2 years, another merger happened. So I was working for Macquarie Media, and they merged with the 9 network. Wow. And again, they got rid of that show coming out of Brisbane. So you kind of see, like a bit of a pattern here, like, what is it? Once bitten, twice shy. But I went back for a third time, but it was between that third redundancy with the merger with Channel 9, where the show I was working on was no longer. And it was the end of September 2019. And I thought, okay, well, I've been doing a lot of emceeing stuff, but it's never really something that I have, you know, put myself out there to do. It's just people who have come to me and said, hey, we're having this, can you MC it? And I'm actually pretty good at this. This is actually what people come to me to do. So with that, you know, just fresh and everything, I set to work and started, you know, built a very simple website with like a booking form and everything. And things were going great. Things were going really good. I had like so many bookings taking me right through to, you know, 2020, some even like 2021. And then COVID came along.
Oh my God, I was waiting for it.
And then no more events. So yes. However,
so resilience has been a huge part of your journey.
Yeah, it has. And I think just the fact that I was quite resilient in just thinking, oh, well, you know, everyone's sort of in the same boat. I'll just do what I can. You know, obviously during that time, you know, I flipped a few different things around, worked at a local radio station in Ipswich, and, you know, all kept busy, but of course I couldn't do these things that I loved and get out there and talking in front of hundreds of people and stuff like that. However, having said that, I did manage to still do quite a few, you know, COVID safe events and everything, which was great. And even like a few that were very small audience and zoomed out to the big wide world.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of me that's where I am now. Well, no. Amazing. Well, actually, during that, so it was probably about like 5 months of the COVID thing, and then the newly, you know, the Nine network rang me one day and said, we're going to start our in-house traffic division. Would you like to come and start it up? So,
wow.
Yeah, so, you know, the get-go of COVID really, to be offered like a job like that was fantastic.
Yeah, and I guess now that things are a little bit more opened up, the emceeing work is back on. You can get back in front of people, back at events.
Yeah, it's slowly coming back more and more. So I've had a few things in the last few weeks and a few coming up. So yeah, super pumped for that.
That's so cool. So really you've been able to kind of do two things. It's have like a super adaptable career and, you know, keep growing, keep learning, keep taking new opportunities as they come, and then build a business around doing literally the thing that you love doing.
Yeah, talking. It's great.
Yeah, that is phenomenal. I love it. I love it. And how do you manage both? Like, how does it feel doing two things? Like, do you get busy, get overwhelmed? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, well, I'm really lucky in the fact that I work in the mornings. So my day starts at 5:30 and I finish at midday, which is really great because predominantly things that I MC are in the evenings. But yeah, it's certain things that sort of like will happen and stuff where I sort of have to say to myself, oh, hang on, I am actually pretty exhausted from this. I had that happen probably like 2 months ago. I think I had 4 events that I was emceeing in the week, tied in with work as well. And just by the end of the week, I was just like, I'm just going to go to bed.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No one talk to me. I'm on the phone. If you need me, text me. I might text you back. I might not. So, but obviously I am very fortunate to have that, and it's pretty manageable. But yeah, just got to
understand your own energy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So how do you, because it's really interesting, because I know, and I talk to a lot of business owners who do get burnt out. And look, to be honest, so I just got COVID a month ago, like a few weeks ago, and I just really struggled to bounce back. Like I just was like, I don't want to work anymore. I had no energy, like I couldn't do it. So I really had to, you know, give myself a bit of a kick up the bum and exercise and eat right and not drink and not have the coffee for a week, all those little things where I'm like, you know, you should probably be doing this all the time, but it's just because you've hit rock bottom that you've decided to look after yourself. But are there things that you do to manage your energy and know that, you know, that you're going to have weeks where it's a little bit more full on? Like, do you like incorporate things into your daily life to kind of make that work?
Drinking throughout the week is a no. In fact, probably like only a couple of drinks on a Friday works for me, if that. Yeah. Because just with your voice and everything, if I have the next day, it's so acidic and everything. So even like food wise as well, I've had to sort of like cut down a few things, like a lot of tomatoes and stuff like that. So that's one thing.
Wow.
But a big thing that I'm really into is sleep banking. I like to call it
sleep banking.
Yes.
Tell me about this phenomenon. Oh my gosh.
Hold on, because your life is about to change once I tell you about sleep banking.
Okay, so please.
If I have like an event or something coming up, I will sleep in advance to catch up on the sleep that I may be missing out on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So for example, I've got an event on Thursday night, which will run a little bit longer than they usually do. So it will start at about 4:00, starting off with like a team meeting with everyone getting together to talk about how the event will go. And then I probably won't finish till about 9:00. And I usually like to be in bed by 9. So
Me too.
I'm going to be sleep banking on a Wednesday. So I will come home and I will pretty much sleep for a number of hours, and that will be in preparation of my Thursday.
Oh my God, that is literal genius. Did you just make this up, or did you read it somewhere? Tell me how this came to fruition.
No, I've never seen it anywhere. I just came up with it, and I kind of questioned, I think I might have even like put it out on Twitter or something or other. I said, do you believe in sleep banking, or do you think that sleep is just something that needs to be catched up on? And it was sort of like mixed responses. I think I should put it out there again. I might have to like tweet it again and see what it is.
I think you should. I think like every female founder, I know that, we'll talk about this when we promote this video, but every female founder needs to know about this.
Okay. Well, I'm so here for it to spread the word. So yeah, I definitely think that sleep is something you can bank and keep it in you've got it stored in you.
I totally agree with you, because so I've been in this little COVID nightmare that I've been going through. I've not been sleeping well at all. And when I did my little week of change, week of being a good human, I started sleeping really well. And then when we flew to Perth, we had this horrendous 6-8 hour delay sitting in the airport. Then they cancelled the plane at midnight and then put us on the 5 o'clock. So, by the time you get home, you get this 4-hour window of sleep to get back to the airport. And I was like, you know what? Because I've slept really well for the last couple of nights, this is fine. I can totally deal with this. It's all good. If I had been sleeping crap like I had been before, I would have lost it. Yeah. So I think you're onto something.
Well, I should really get something down in writing.
You really need to patent this or something.
Yeah. You can help me get it out there.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that is so good. Okay, cool. So then I love what you said, when you decided to start the emceeing business, around how you just whipped up a website, simple booking form, get it out there. Like, what was that process like? So how did you go, okay, what exactly do I need? What's the minimum that I could do? And how do I spread the word?
Yeah, I've because like I said, I never really spread the word, so to say. I just always had people come to me. So when I got the website up, I decided then like LinkedIn was great. Like LinkedIn was like something I went to straight away, posted up, hey, was doing this, now I'm doing this, here's my website. And then I just found that linking up with people who work in those marketing events industries, just, getting things up in front of those people. So when they're looking for someone, they've got you in like the front of their mind. And, I think emceeing as well, like it's such a visual thing. Like someone wants to know, you can talk, you're going to look good doing it. You're going to have all your shit together, all that kind of stuff. You're going to come prepared, you know what you're doing. And hopefully you can be funny as well and tell some really dank jokes.
You're like, I've got a few of those up my sleeve.
Love to do that. So just really being quite constant, but then again, like it was at the start of COVID, but just putting it out there, letting people know what I was doing when I was able to have those situations.
Well, and I guess too, like being in the radio industry for so long, your LinkedIn would have connections in the right space, I assume. So it's not like you're like, I'm in a totally new industry, I have no connections and I need to start from scratch. It's like, okay, I've created a business around something that people know me for, which is speaking, and I do have a bit of a network. So it's not, it wouldn't be like, what? You did what? Like it wouldn't be surprising for people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's right. And especially like, with all the PRs and everything, sending you media releases and press releases day in, day out, just replying to one of theirs, saying, well, thanks for that. Not working on radio anymore. Can't get you any airtime, but here's what I'm doing.
I love that.
Because, you know, if they need someone, if they're like got a movie premiere or an event launch or whatever, they might need someone in Brisbane. If they're, you know, they're based in Sydney, they might need someone in Brisbane. So they're like, oh, and then just any sort of thing like that. Did a bit of an email around type thing, and
Well, I guess it's that willingness to just like tell people what you're doing. Realistically, it's like I do find it funny when founders don't want to tell people about their business. You know, it's like, no, get the word out there. Tell every person you meet.
That's right. Yeah. And look, networking has been good as well. I mean, I think in the past, when I was like a lot younger, I had like a background in speech and drama before all this speech and drama teaching and acting and stuff like that. And I think a lot of the time you're kind of led down this sort of like false sense of you need to be out there, you need to be in front of like casting directors and people in the industry. And you know what? It's all just bullshit. It was all just all it was just booze ups and everyone going out to like a bar or something, or, you know, an after filming function or whatever, and everyone just getting shit faced. And that's just not what it was about. And that's, for a long time, that's what I thought I had to do in order to try and get somewhere in that whole world, and, you know, and everything, and going to casting. So you go to a casting and afterwards they might invite you out somewhere with, you know, all the people from the agency, and like you'd think, oh, we got to go because, you know, such and such is going to be there, or blah 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 from Vivian's is going to be there, and you're like, it's just all absolutely nothing. Everyone's drunk and can't remember who they met the night before anyway, and they've all got hangovers. And so I think I wasted a considerable amount of my life post the last, you know, before the last 10 years in media and stuff, doing that kind of stuff, and it just gets you nowhere.
Yeah, you know, it's really funny. I had the same moment of realization. So when I started Scrunch, I was like, I will be everywhere. I'll be at every event. I'll be on every panel. I'll be this, I'll be that. And then at some point when I was fucking exhausted, I was like, hang on a second, these things that I'm doing is making no contribution to growing my business.
I know.
All it's doing is making me tired and like helping that person that invited me on the panel. Like you said, maybe that's okay, but not everyone, not every time.
Yeah, that's totally it. And it took a long time to realize that. And I think like it took a long time as well for me to realize that whilst I was always going for that like acting thing and acting roles and everything, the most success I ever had in that world was when I was just being myself. Yeah. You know, like the first big commercial that I got was the Aldi commercial, and it was unscripted and I was playing myself. And I love that. Something's not right here, because I go in and like I've got this like preconceived notion of the character I'm going for. It's just not happening. And then that was like a really great moment in my life, actually.
But that's so funny, because it's like, what is your point of difference? And your point of difference is you. Like, and especially in your business, it's like people hire you because you are you. And I think that, you know, with personal brands being so tied into most people's businesses these days, leveraging that and being yourself is the best way. It is 100%. Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. So, I mean, obviously COVID was a huge challenge for you. Well, not just you, for everyone on the planet, but obviously with your type of business. Has there been anything else that's come up since starting the business where you're like, okay, wasn't really expecting that to be a challenge, learn new skills? What's that business process been like for you? I think the business process has actually been, looking back, I mean, I do feel like pretty lucky. One thing I probably did learn was the importance of having terms and conditions on your book and securing. I learned that the hard way too. It's fun, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Only like a few months ago, I had one that sort of like slipped under as well, and that was actually I was being booked by a company overseas. And everything was great. We'd done like the Zoom interview and everything, and they're like, okay, great, you know, this is what we need you to do. We'll be sending you the information, and the information just did not come via email. And I was just like, this is a bit odd. And then I was the one to contact them, and then it was like, oh, sorry for the miscommunication. That person actually doesn't work here anymore. We've actually gone ahead and booked someone else. What? Yeah. This was one day out as well. Oh my God. Yeah. So I
I thought, okay, well, I hadn't got anything back, signed, sealed type thing. And I thought, oh, I don't have anything to stand on here. You know, here's something that I've taken time out of my life to prepare for and book this in, and, you know, spent time on the Zoom interview and downloaded the app I needed to communicate with them over there overseas and everything.
Yeah.
It didn't eventuate. And to be honest, I don't even know if the event actually went ahead in the capacity that they wanted it to here, because I never saw anything like come in or
online
anything.
or
no.
Wow.
So that was the most recent one of me just like, okay, yeah, got to do this every time.
Yeah. It's really funny. I've been a salesperson my whole life. So like asking people for money and contracts and proposals have never been a real issue. But I remember when I started Scrunch, the business, and it was mine, and I wasn't working for a big corporate and using their, you know, logo and contracts and all that kind of stuff. I had a really weird moment of like when to contract and invoice people. And I almost felt like I shouldn't do it. You know, it was this really weird mindset shift to go to. Like, it was almost like, well, I don't want to insult them. I don't want to hurt the relationship. And my accountant had to like slap me in the face and be like, that's what you're in business for, is to make money and to whatever. So, but unfortunately, we had a couple that, either didn't send the contract through and got started on work, and then they pulled the pin, and we had no kind of like cancellation clause in place or monetary compensation. And then another one where the talent on something did something crazy, and we ended up having to cover costs, and it was just a nightmare. So I'm all about, like, as soon as they say the words yes or write the words yes, that is the indicator that gives you a contract and an invoice, and get them to pay their invoice.
Yeah. It's funny though how we feel like that and sending invoices and stuff, and it's weird.
It is
weird mentality thing.
It is so weird when you consider that, like, that's the way the world works. You know, nobody is going around performing services for free. So we're all in the exact same game, but for some reason we hesitate and feel weird about it. Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, it is. We've got to get over that.
Yeah, here and now we're taking a stand.
Right.
I love that. So what's in store for the future for you? So you've gone through, obviously, the career, emceeing's back on, events are back on. What does the future look like for your business?
I'm actually thinking about, I've put very minor first few steps in place. I want to get into the online coaching world.
That's awesome. I was hoping you would say that. That's so cool. Yeah.
Like, I do like one-on-ones, like media training in general, but I want to get into more of the more sort of online, something that I can put together, all those modules and everything. Because I just like have so many people coming to me, and, you know, even like when I MC stuff and they say, oh, I've got, a presentation to do next week. I'd love to, you know, have some time with you and we can, you know, do a session and stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And, you know, looking back, maybe it's something I should have done during COVID, but I didn't. But I think now's the time. And I also want to get like on more of a speaker sort of circuit, because, as I said, you know, I went into very, very, very vague details of my resilience and everything over the last 10 years of my life. But yeah, there's been like some really massive things that, you know, I've kind of been through, and somehow I've come out pretty great.
I think you're fabulous. You have come out pretty great.
Yeah, like some of the things, when you kind of think about it, you're like, wow, that's actually pretty tough, and here you are living, surviving, and thriving. So yeah, and get like into the more of a sort of speaker talk circuit thing. So put something together there.
Well, and that's it. And I think that there is real power in sharing people's stories. And I mean, obviously that's what we're doing today, because somebody is going to have dialed in and going, oh my God, that happened to me, and she did this, and that means I can do this. And I guess it gives people permission to potentially take action that they were hesitating on, or, you know, didn't even know what the world of possibilities were like. So getting up there and actually sharing that story, I think, is so cool.
Yeah, and I want to do that, and, you know, just piece it all together, and yeah, it's quite a story of resilience.
I love it. This is so good. We're just mapping out your, you know, future career right here. It's amazing. So then I guess the last piece of wisdom. So for the Spark community who are dialing in right now, who are either just starting their businesses or they're a little bit scared to take the leap, anything that you wish you had have known, or any advice that you would give early stage female founders?
Yeah, just go for it and do it. I mean, I think back to so many things that, before getting into media, I think about so many things and like ideas that I came up with. And I think the biggest thing I never had the right network of people around me who were just go-getters and stuff. And who wanted something. I remember back, like, having like these ideas of doing like videos and stuff before, videos like you'd see now about going to places and going to restaurants and reviews and this kind of stuff. But back then, like, no one wanted to do it unless you're paying like money, like big bucks. You speak to a videographer and they'd be like, oh yeah, $500. It's like, well, don't you want to work on a project together and see where it can go? And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've, I guess you could say, have like regrets of not finding the right people around me. But I mean, like over 10 years ago, we never really had this sort of like social communities and networking opportunities like we do now. People who
especially in Brisbane.
Especially in Brisbane. Sometimes I think back to the people who just said no. I'm like, wow, like, what are you doing now? Like,
what are you doing now? That's right. Clearly that decision worked out well for you.
That's right. So just get in there and do it. And you don't. Another thing is, like, you don't have to have like the best website that you've spent thousands of dollars on. You just have to have something out there and have it looking nice. Like, I used to think, my Instagram page, my personal, my public MC page, like, I only started at when this happened, and it's only got likes or whatever. I thought, oh no, that's going to be so bad. People are like going to think, and that's like nothing to do with it. Like, it is so nothing to do with the whole. Don't get caught up in the whole social media and the engagement and the like side of things. As long as people have something to go, like a website or your Facebook page that has regular updates, and they know that you're number one, alive and operating. That what you've got to offer is going to be good, and the service is going to be great, and you've got some past experience, that kind of stuff. That's what people want. I used to be so caught up in thinking, oh, this doesn't look good enough. I honestly have taken so many. I should have taken more risks, and I've always been really hard on myself for thinking, looking at something like to the rest of the world that doesn't look as good as as it could. That's all rubbish. It's just about having it out there.
You are so right. And when it comes to getting it, people do get caught up in that. I need thousands of followers, I need to look a certain way, XYZ. But in the world of business, it's value. It's what value can you add, and are you in front of the right people? Because if you sell into, so in your case, you sell into the PR or the events manager, they're not the 10,000 people that follow you on Instagram. But like, if you're on LinkedIn and you have 500 whatever connections, but they're all the right people and they know what you do, and you do have that landing page, you do have that booking form, that's when it happens. It has nothing to do with building these stupid audiences.
I got a bit caught up in that at first, and then I was just like, no, actually this is great. You got to get your head around that as well, I think. But the biggest thing is just put something out there. Be out there and tell everyone what you do. And no one can tell other people what you do better than yourself.
Yes, that is so true. Oh, I love that so much. You are incredible. Thank you so much for being open and honest and sharing your story with Spark TV.
It was super fun. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you for joining me. Cheers. I appreciate it. Woo.
Woo.